When you grow old, don't let old friends back into your life. As you reach the later stages of life, you find yourself reflecting on the people, places, and experiences that have shaped your journey. Old friends, the ones who shared moments of your youth, often cross your mind. Perhaps one of them has reached out recently, stirring memories of shared laughter or maybe unresolved conflicts. While the temptation to reconnect can be strong, let me, as someone who has walked this earth for nearly 90 years, offer you a piece of seasoned wisdom. Don't let old friends back into your life, not without serious consideration. Why such a bold statement? Life is precious, especially now. You've earned your peace, your contentment, and the simplicity of choosing relationships that bring you joy. Reopening doors to the past isn't always a wise step forward. Let me explain why. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The past is a closed chapter. As someone who has lived through nearly a century of life's twists and turns, I've come to understand that the past is not just a memory. It's a teacher. It's a chapter in the book of life that is meant to be read, learned from, and then closed. Keeping it open too long can hold you back from the beauty and peace that await in the chapters yet to come. When you look back at old friendships, it's tempting to feel a longing for the way things once were. Perhaps you remember the laughter, the camaraderie, or the feeling of belonging that a certain friend once brought into your life. But life isn't static, and neither are we. The person you were when that friendship flourished is not the same person you are today. You've grown, evolved, and weathered storms that have changed you in ways no one else may fully understand. And guess what? That friend has likely changed too. Or perhaps stayed the same while you've moved forward. Friendships, like everything else in life, serve their purpose. They come to us in seasons, each one bringing something unique. Some friendships teach us how to laugh harder, some teach us resilience, and others, often painfully, teach us when to let go. Not all friendships are meant to endure forever, and there is no shame in that. What's more, reopening a chapter that has long been closed often reveals that the magic you once shared no longer exists. The laughter may feel forced, the camaraderie a shadow of its former self, and the belonging, well, it may no longer be there at all. When an old friend reaches out, it can stir emotions you thought were long settled. But before you answer that call or agree to meet for coffee, pause and ask yourself, what is it that I truly miss? Is it the friend, or is it the feeling they represented in a bygone time? Often it's not the person we miss, but the version of ourselves we were when we were with them. Perhaps it was a time when life felt simpler, when possibilities stretched out before you, or when the world seemed less complicated. But chasing that feeling by reconnecting with an old friend is like trying to relive a moment that no longer exists. The past cannot be recreated. It can only be remembered. Some friendships ended for reasons that time cannot erase. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, a betrayal, or simply a gradual drift apart. Whatever the cause, there's often wisdom in the way life naturally distances us from certain people. That distance is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time. It allows us to grow without the weight of relationships that no longer serve us. And now, in your later years, your time and emotional energy are far too precious to invest in relationships that are rooted in the past rather than the present. It's important to acknowledge that people don't always change as much as we'd like to think. If an old friend brought negativity, drama, or emotional exhaustion into your life back then, they may very well bring those same qualities back now. Are you prepared to carry that burden again? The version of yourself that tolerated such things might have been younger, more forgiving, or less self-aware. But now you know the value of peace, and you've earned the right to protect it fiercely. Closing the chapter on an old friendship doesn't mean you're unkind or ungrateful for what that person once meant to you. It simply means that you honor the past by leaving it where it belongs. You carry the lessons, the memories, and the gratitude for the good times, but you don't need to reopen a door that was closed for good reason. The chapters ahead of you are waiting to be written, and they deserve your full attention and presence. Letting go of the past is one of the most liberating things you can do, especially as you grow older. It's not about forgetting, it's about accepting. It's about understanding that the richness of your life is not measured by how many old connections you maintain, but by the quality of the relationships you nurture in the here and now. The past is a closed chapter, and in closing it, you open yourself to the beauty, peace, and possibilities of the present. 2. Protecting your peace. As someone who has lived through the fullness of life, its joys, trials, and lessons, I can tell you this: peace is not something that comes easily. It's something you cultivate, often through hard fought battles, sacrifices, and moments of profound self discovery. When you reach the later years of your life, peace becomes a treasure more valuable than gold. Protecting it should be one of your highest priorities. Your peace is not just about the absence of noise or conflict. It's about an inner stillness, a sense of contentment that allows you to enjoy your days without being weighed down by unnecessary burdens. It's the calm that lets you sit with your thoughts and feel whole. But peace is fragile and it can be disrupted by the relationships we allow into our lives. Not all connections are equal, and not all of them deserve a place in your sanctuary of peace. Old friends, no matter how fondly you remember them, can sometimes bring chaos where there should be calm. Their intentions may not be malicious, but their presence can still disrupt the harmony you've worked so hard to achieve. Maybe they bring with them unresolved conflicts from the past or habits that clash with the life you've built. Maybe they haven't grown in the same ways you have, and their energy feels out of sync with yours. Whatever the case, you have the right and the responsibility to safeguard the tranquility of your golden years. There's no denying that some people carry heavy clouds with them. They dwell on old grievances, recycle the same negative stories, and see the world through a lens of perpetual discontent. When you invite such energy into your life, even with the best intentions, it has a way of seeping into your own spirit. You find yourself rehashing the same conversations, trying to support them in ways that feel draining, or walking on eggshells to avoid triggering their complaints. It's not that you lack compassion, it's that you've learned the cost of giving too much of yourself to people who take without replenishing. At this stage in life, you've earned the right to say no. You've earned the right to prioritize your own well being without guilt or explanation. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. It means recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup and that your energy is better spent on relationships that uplift you, bring joy, and make you feel seen and valued. There's a certain clarity that comes with age. You begin to see people for who they truly are, not just who they were when you first met them. Some old friends may have been companions of convenience, their presence tied to a specific time or circumstance in your life. Without that context, the bond may no longer hold the same meaning. And that's okay. Not every relationship is meant to endure. Some are lessons, some are blessings, and some are both. But when the lesson is over, it's okay to let go. Protecting your peace also means understanding your limits. You've spent decades navigating the demands of work, family, and community. Now is the time to lean into relationships that feel effortless, the kind where silence is as comfortable as conversation, and where your heart feels light, not heavy. If an old friend reaches out and you sense that their presence would disrupt this balance, it's okay to decline. It's not an act of cruelty, but an act of self-preservation. When you guard your peace, you make room for the things that truly matter. You create space for joy, for reflection, and for the simple pleasures of life, like a quiet morning with your favorite book, a walk in the park, or a conversation with someone who brings laughter and warmth to your days. These moments are the essence of what it means to live fully, and they are worth protecting fiercely. Remember, peace is not something that just happens. It's something you choose day by day, moment by moment. It's a commitment to yourself and to the life you've built. When you choose to protect your peace, you honor all the years you've spent getting to this point. You honor the lessons you've learned, the battles you fought, and the wisdom you've gained. And in doing so, you give yourself the gift of a life well lived, free from unnecessary chaos and full of the serenity you so deeply deserve. 3. Letting go of nostalgia. Nostalgia is a powerful force. It has the ability to sweep us away to moments long past, evoking the sweetness of youth, the laughter of old friendships, and the warmth of days when life felt simpler. But as someone who has lived nearly 90 years, let me share a truth I've learned. Nostalgia, though comforting, can sometimes be a trap. It can tether us to what was, blinding us to the beauty of what is and the potential of what could be. The past is a place we visit in our memories, but it is not a place we are meant to live. Nostalgia can make the past seem golden, a time when everything felt just right. But if you sit with those memories long enough, you'll realize they are not as flawless as they appear in hindsight. The mind has a way of softening the edges, of making us forget the struggles and imperfections that were woven into those times. It's not that the past wasn't beautiful. It's that it was also complex, just like the present. When you find yourself tempted to rekindle an old friendship out of nostalgia, pause and reflect. Are you longing for the person, or are you longing for the version of yourself that existed when you were with them? Maybe you were younger, braver, or more carefree then. Maybe the world felt full of possibilities and the friendship seemed to mirror that sense of freedom. But time changes us, all of us. You are not the same person you were then, and neither is your old friend. Clinging to the idea of who they were, or who you were, can set you up for disappointment. Nostalgia often whispers that going back will bring back what was lost. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. You can revisit old places, reconnect with old faces, but the essence of those moments cannot be recreated. Time moves forward, and so must we. Trying to relive the past can rob you of the joy and peace available to you in the present. There's also a danger in confusing nostalgia with unresolved feelings. Sometimes, when we think fondly of the past, it's because there's a part of us that hasn't fully let go of what could have been. Perhaps there's regret or unfinished business tied to an old friendship. But reopening those doors rarely brings the closure we think it will. Instead, it often leads to a painful realization that the connection we cherished has faded, and the person we once knew is a stranger to us now. Letting go of nostalgia doesn't mean forgetting or diminishing the past. It means honoring it for what it was. A chapter in your story, rich with lessons and meaning, but allowing yourself to turn the page. When you let go of the weight of longing for what once was, you free yourself to embrace the fullness of the life you have now. This stage of life is a gift, one that many do not get to experience. It is a time to be present with yourself, to cherish the relationships that have stood the test of time, and to savor the simple joys that come with the wisdom of age. By letting go of nostalgia, you allow yourself to live more fully in the present. You give yourself permission to find beauty in the here and now without the shadows of the past clouding your view. Nostalgia has its place. It can bring comfort on a quiet evening, a smile to your face when you recall a treasured memory. But it should never hold you back. It should never keep you from moving forward, from embracing the peace and clarity that come with letting go. The past has given you all it can. Now it's time to release it and step into the grace of the life that lies ahead. 4. Emotional energy is finite. As someone who has journeyed through nearly a century of life, I can tell you with certainty that emotional energy is one of the most precious and finite resources we have. Unlike time, which ticks away unceasingly, emotional energy ebbs and flows. It requires replenishment, care, and mindfulness. And as you grow older, it becomes even clearer that not everyone and everything is worthy of your emotional investment. When you were younger, you may have felt like you could give endlessly your time, your attention, your compassion. Perhaps you were the one others leaned on, the friend who was always there to listen, to comfort, to help. But with age comes the understanding that while your heart may be boundless, your capacity to pour out that love and care is not. Every interaction, every relationship, every moment spent in the company of others draws from the well of your emotional reserves. And if you are not careful, that well can run dry. Reconnecting with old friends can feel like a harmless indulgence, but it often demands more from you than you realize. Friendships, especially those that have lain dormant for years, require energy to rekindle. They require the emotional labor of catching up, of rebuilding trust, of navigating the unspoken changes that time has wrought. You may find yourself giving more than you receive, trying to bridge a gap that feels wider with every conversation. And if that friend brings with them unresolved baggage, negativity, or a lack of emotional reciprocity, the cost to your emotional energy can be profound. It's not that you lack compassion or care, far from it. By the time you've reached this stage of life, you've likely offered more love and support to others than you ever thought possible. But compassion must be balanced with self preservation. You have a right to protect your emotional well being, to say no to relationships that drain rather than replenish you. This is not selfishness, it is wisdom born of experience. Think about the people who are already in your life, your family, your closest friends, your community. These are the relationships that sustain you, the ones that add richness and depth to your days. They understand you as you are now, not as a relic of the past. They have grown with you, weathered life's storms alongside you, and earned their place in your inner circle. These are the people who deserve your emotional energy because the love and care you give to them is returned in kind. When you allow an old friend back into your life, you must ask yourself, at what cost? Will this relationship enhance your sense of peace and fulfillment, or will it deplete your reserves? Will it bring joy and connection, or will it leave you feeling drained and unbalanced? These are not questions of judgment, but of practicality. Emotional energy, like physical stamina, is a finite resource. You must use it wisely. There is a certain freedom in recognizing your limitations. It allows you to be intentional about where and how you spend your energy. It empowers you to focus on the relationships and experiences that truly matter, rather than scattering yourself thin across connections that no longer serve you. It's a form of self care, a way of honoring the life you've built and the person you've become. As I sit here reflecting on the decades I've lived, I am struck by the profound truth that we carry within us all the love, wisdom, and strength we've ever given to others. It becomes a part of us, shaping who we are. But to keep that light burning, we must be careful not to give away so much of ourselves that there is nothing left. Emotional energy is finite, yes, but it is also renewable if we nurture it, protect it, and give it to those who truly deserve it. So, as you consider whether to let an old friend back into your life, ask yourself this: does this connection nourish your soul or drain it? Does it align with the peace and fulfillment you've worked so hard to cultivate? If the answer is no, then it's okay to let go. You've earned the right to choose, to protect your energy, and to live the rest of your days with a heart that is full, not empty. This is your time. Guard it well. 5. Polite boundaries are empowering. There is an undeniable strength in setting boundaries and an even greater wisdom in doing so with grace and kindness. After nearly 90 years of living, I've learned that boundaries are not walls meant to shut others out, but bridges to safeguard your well being while maintaining respect for those on the other side. They are the quiet yet firm declarations of self respect, and as you grow older, they become more essential than ever. In life, we often hesitate to set boundaries because we fear being misunderstood, or worse, being seen as unkind. But I've come to understand that boundaries, when set with intention and politeness, are among the most loving acts you can perform for yourself and for others. They provide clarity where there might otherwise be confusion, and they allow relationships to exist in harmony rather than tension. When an old friend reaches out, perhaps after years of silence, it can stir a mix of emotions: nostalgia, curiosity, maybe even a sense of obligation. It's natural to want to respond, to engage, to rekindle what once was. But before you do, ask yourself whether this is a connection that aligns with the life you've built and the person you've become. If it isn't, then setting a boundary is not only appropriate, but necessary. Boundaries are not about rejection, they are about preservation. Preservation of your peace, your energy, and the relationships that truly matter to you. A polite boundary might look like a carefully crafted message, one that acknowledges the past with gratitude while gently declining to reopen a door that has long been closed. You might say something like, "Thank you for reaching out. I deeply appreciate the memories we shared, but I've moved forward in my life and prefer to focus on the present. I wish you all the best." These words carry no malice, no harshness. They are simply an honest expression of your needs, delivered with respect for the other person. And in saying them, you reaffirm your own worth, the worth of your time, your energy, and your emotional well being. There is empowerment in this kind of honesty. It allows you to stand firmly in your truth without compromising your kindness. It also sets the tone for how others treat you, demonstrating that while you value connection, you will not sacrifice your peace to maintain it. In doing so, you teach others that relationships must be reciprocal, respectful, and rooted in mutual understanding. Some may struggle to accept your boundaries, mistaking them for rejection or indifference. But their reaction is not your responsibility. What matters is that you have acted with integrity and kindness. Remember, boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling what you allow into your life. And at this stage, your life should be filled with things that uplift and nurture you, not things that drain or disrupt. Setting boundaries also opens the door for deeper, more meaningful relationships. When you are clear about what you will and will not accept, you make space for connections that align with your values and enrich your life. You free yourself from the weight of obligation and create room for joy, laughter, and the company of those who truly understand and support you. In my many years, I've seen the beauty of boundaries time and again. They have allowed me to cherish the relationships that bring me peace while letting go of those that no longer serve me. They have given me the courage to say no when I needed to, and the grace to say yes when it felt right. And most importantly, they have helped me protect the life I've worked so hard to build. A life filled with love, simplicity, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing I am true to myself. So, do not fear setting boundaries. Embrace them as tools of empowerment, as acts of self-love that also honor the people around you. Be polite, be firm, and be unapologetically clear about what you need. In doing so, you give yourself the gift of a life lived on your terms, a life where peace reigns and only the most nourishing relationships remain. 6. Focus on the present. There is a profound beauty in living in the present, a beauty that only becomes clearer as the years pass. When you've lived nearly 9 decades, as I have, you realize that the present is all we truly have. The past, no matter how cherished or painful, is gone. The future, no matter how promising or uncertain, is not guaranteed. The present moment, with all its simplicity and imperfection, is the only place where life exists. It is here now that you find your peace, your joy, and your meaning. Focusing on the present requires a conscious choice to let go of the weight of the past. That weight often comes in the form of unresolved emotions, old friendships, or lingering regrets. When we allow those things to occupy our minds, we rob ourselves of the ability to fully engage with what is happening now. Think about it. How can you truly savor the laughter of a grandchild, the warmth of a sunny afternoon, or the comfort of a familiar routine if your thoughts are tied to what once was? The present deserves your full attention, not the fragmented focus that comes from dwelling on the past. Reconnecting with old friends may seem like an opportunity to relive the good times, but often it pulls you away from the life you have built today. Your current relationships, the people who have walked with you through the highs and lows, deserve your energy and your love. They are the ones who have stood the test of time, who know you as you are now, not as you were decades ago. By focusing on these relationships, you honor the connections that truly enrich your life. The present also offers the gift of simplicity. At this stage of life, you've likely discovered that it's the small, ordinary moments that hold the greatest meaning. A quiet morning with a cup of coffee, a heartfelt conversation, or the beauty of nature. All of these are treasures that can only be appreciated when you are fully present. When you focus on the here and now, you allow yourself to experience life in its purest form, unclouded by the noise of the past or the uncertainty of the future. 7. The wisdom of moving on. Moving on is one of the hardest lessons life teaches us, but it is also one of the most liberating. It takes wisdom to recognize when a chapter has ended and courage to close it. As you grow older, you come to understand that not everything is meant to stay, and not every relationship is meant to endure. Letting go is not a sign of failure or indifference. It is a sign of growth. Moving on from old friendships that no longer serve you is an act of self-respect. It's not about rejecting the person or dismissing the memories you shared. It's about acknowledging that the connection has run its course and that both of you are better off walking separate paths. Life is full of transitions, and each one brings with it the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to embrace the new. There is wisdom in realizing that not all goodbyes are sad. Some are necessary, even beautiful. They allow you to make space for what truly matters: your peace, your happiness, and the relationships that nurture your soul. When you move on, you are not erasing the past. You are simply choosing to carry its lessons forward without being weighed down by its burdens. Moving on also means trusting that life has more to offer you. Even now, in your later years, there are joys yet to be discovered, friendships yet to be deepened, and experiences yet to be savored. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you open the door to new possibilities. You allow yourself to grow in ways you never imagined and to find fulfillment in places you never thought to look. As someone who has walked this earth for nearly 90 years, I can tell you this: moving on is not about forgetting. It's about honoring. You honor the past by remembering it with gratitude, and you honor yourself by living fully in the present. You carry the lessons, the love, and the wisdom forward, but you leave behind the pain, the regret, and the unnecessary weight. In the end, Life is a journey of constant renewal. Each step forward is a chance to become more of who you are meant to be. The wisdom of moving on lies in knowing that you cannot carry everything with you. Some things must be left behind so that you can walk freely into the future with a heart that is light and a spirit that is full of hope. Embracing peace, the beauty of letting go. Life, when viewed from the vantage point of many decades, reveals itself as a tapestry woven with moments of joy, heartbreak, love, and loss. Each thread, each experience has contributed to the person you are today. But as the years pass, the greatest lesson becomes clear. The most valuable thing you can give yourself is peace. Not the peace that comes from silence or solitude alone, but the peace of knowing you have made choices that honor your heart, your mind, and your well-being. Letting go of old friends, old memories, or even old versions of yourself is not an act of abandonment. It is an act of reverence for the life you are living now. It is a way of saying, I value this moment, this version of myself, more than I value clinging to what was. This wisdom is not always easy to embrace, but it is profoundly freeing. It allows you to step into each day with clarity, free from the weight of the past and open to the beauty of the present. As someone who has walked the long path of life, I encourage you to cherish what you have now. Hold close the relationships that nourish you, the experiences that uplift you, and the moments that make you feel alive. Protect your emotional energy, honor your boundaries, and focus on the present with an open heart. Life may be fleeting, but its richness lies in your ability to savor it fully, without distraction or regret. Remember, moving on is not about erasing the past. It is about making room for the life you still have left to live. You are not defined by what you leave behind, but by the courage you show in embracing what lies ahead. Choose peace, choose joy, choose the life you have right now, and in doing so, you will find that this final chapter of your journey is as beautiful and meaningful as all the ones that came before. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.